Crew member, Stephane Raguenes, onboard the 53-foot French yacht Triana, which is racing around the world in the McIntyre Ocean Globe Race, was successfully rescued after a dramatic long-range helicopter mission was organised. A Portuguese rescue chopper was dispatched, and the yacht's crew put the patient into a life raft before being winched onboard the helicopter and flown to Madeira for medical attention. The alarm was raised early on the morning of the 18th of September, when the sailor's condition deteriorated overnight from injuries sustained the day before.
T'arrives à le récupérer?
Did they propose something already or not yet?
I think if you need any support, just call me on this channel.
Okay, understood. If we need support, we call you on channel 16. Where are you located?
5 is rescue 24. I say again, my call sign is rescue 24.
The channel is 24.
Ouais. Je vais m'appuyer sur toi.
Ouais.
Tu tires en plus droit, tu approches les rails. Ah, c'est bon. Allez.
This is your weekly global sailing highlights show, The World on Water, September 22nd, 2023. Continuing our coverage of the New York Yacht Club's Invitational Cup, Day 3 saw the wind shifts as much as 40 degrees with lanes of pressure next to little to no wind. The San Diego Yacht Club, led by helmsman Tyler Sinks, moved into the overall lead on the penultimate day of the 8th Rolex New York Yacht Club Invitational Cup, with the low score of 42 points. This is the third appearance for the San Diego Yacht Club at the Invitational Cup, previously placing third in 2021 and second in 2019, at the past two editions.
The whole team was really trying to sail a boat like a dinghy today, really moving the weight around a ton, changing gears a lot, and it felt like just the way we sailed the boat as a team just makes the decisions easier for me. So just having basically a boat full of dinghy sailors felt nice today. Super tight, and there's a bunch of teams right there. So our kind of mindset is like we don't really focus on the results that much. We're focused on just sailing well and making good decisions. And so that's kind of how we're looking at tomorrow, is like just go in, sail the boat as well as we can, make good choices, and let the results shake out how they shake out.
We feel like we're stuck in fifth, which has turned out to be a good thing. We're just sailing really conservatively, trying to not make a lot of big mistakes. And in doing so, we're taking a lot less risks, which maybe doesn't put us in the top 2 or 3. But we're fast, and so we're able to kind of stay in that 4 to 6 range, and that wins regattas.
The 2023 Rolex New York Yacht Club Invitational Cup is presented by title sponsor Rolex. Our 2023 New York Yacht Club Regatta Association partners are Heli Hansen, Safe Harbor Marinas, Peters & May, and Hammett's Hotel.
During the 45th anniversary of the J24 class, 10 nations were on hand to open the 2023 World Championship. This year's edition is hosted by the Nautical Club of Thessaloniki in Greece with 35 boats representing Argentina, Australia, Germany, Great Britain, Greece, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Japan, and the United States. After 3 races under blue skies and breeze of 8 to 10 knots, American Keith Whitmore's Furio leads the pack with scores of 2, 2, and 1, for just 5 points. Italian Ignazio Bonanno's La Superba holds second place with 11 points.
Με μεγάλη χαρά σήμερα υποδεχόμαστε εδώ στην Καλαμαριά ένα μεγάλο παγκόσμιο event, το Παγκόσμιο Πρωτάθλημα J24 σαν ναυτικός όμιλος Θεσσαλονίκης.
We love it here in Thessaloniki. It's a lovely place, and one day when it's all over, we'll come back again. We've all sailed against each other and with each other all our life.
3 years, yeah.
So yeah, we know each other very, very well. At the end of the day, it just comes down to crew work and your skills on the boat. So it can be very technical, and then there's just do everything right. You just got to do everything right. Like today, between first and last place on the World Championship, there was hardly any distance between the boats.
We are Sailing Only Media. Please subscribe, share, like, and check the alerts bell. The San Diego Yacht Club dominated the windy final race of the New York Yacht Club's Invitational Cup to stamp their authority on the 8th edition of the world's premier Corinthian regatta. Led by 34-year-old helmsman Tyler Sinks, the San Diego's victory in the final race was their only top 4 finish of the regatta, and gave them the low score of 43 points, good for an 11-point win over first-time entrant, Corinthian Yacht Club of Marblehead, Massachusetts. The Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron was placed 3rd with 55 points.
This is our first time, Corinthian Yacht Club, first time with the Invitational Cup. Second place, feels amazing to be on the podium. Started the regatta off a little slow and had to find our way, dig deep and believe that we could do it, and closed out the last 2 days with a bunch of single-digit scores to get back on the podium in second.
So crossing the finish line at the end, it was just elation, relief a little bit too, because we've also been so close and sort of sniffed, you know, the trophy. But this time to actually have it, you know, in our hands and know that we have the deal kind of locked up. Obviously having a big lead going into the finish line there, that felt super good. And we wanted to end on a racing day like that, where we could go out and put an exclamation point on the win. So it felt great.
The 2023 Rolex New York Yacht Club Invitational Cup is presented by title sponsor Rolex. Our 2023 New York Yacht Club Regatta Association partners are Heli Hansen, Safe Harbor Marinas, Peters & May, and Hammett's Hotel.
The first preliminary regatta on the road to the 37th America's Cup in Barcelona was a non-starter on day one as torrential weather plagued the venue. As the teams slipped their moorings, monsoon-like rain dumped down along with lightning. Therefore, racing was cancelled. On day two, Team New Zealand crashed over the finish line after passing the Swiss Alinghi boat to win a dramatic second race, as light winds caused havoc at the opening America's Cup preliminary regatta.
Day two here in Villanova. It's awesome. Everyone's got their mainsails plugged in. Big crowd on the dock. Hopefully we get out there and there's a nice winter sail. It's looking right on the bottom end, so we're going to need to make sure we're right on our game to keep the boat up on the foils. Just about getting out there now and doing the business. So look forward to getting into it.
Very light, tricky day. Not a bad first race, to be honest, all the way to the top mark, and then just underlaid the top mark and fell off the foil. And you know, we thought there was just enough wind to go to the takeoff, but we just kept trying and trying, and it never came. So, you know, pretty disappointing result at the end after a lot of good work on the first upwind.
It was obviously the winning of that race, getting back on the foils. I feel like we did a really good job just being patient, and then taking the one opportunity when there was enough wind to get going. And obviously the others were caught up in a bit more of a battle than us at that stage, so they didn't take the same gust, and from there we'd be able to stay around the course. Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. It looks like a completely different day. There's going to be some big waves. Depending on what forecast you look at, it could be quite windy or just moderate. So yeah, it's going to be super exciting to show everyone what these boats can do in a bit more breeze.
All clear, all clear.
A bit frustrating there in the end, but we did some really good things today, and we also made a few unforced errors when we were actually leading. So disappointing for us, but we still did enough to make the match race final, but unfortunately the wind died on us and we couldn't get that race away. We just made a couple too many mistakes today.
I thought we were starting in general quite well and had two good starts, two good races, but ultimately the final fleet race we made an error in the jibe and fell off the foil and handed that win to American Magic and did a good job to fight back into second place, but ultimately that wasn't enough. We kind of probably assumed that the match race was going to go ahead and that would be fine, but one thing I've learned with sport is that you always want to keep at the top of the leaderboard after every race because you never know when it might end.
I think those first two races today with a little bit more breeze showed how tight the racing can be around the racetrack when there is that little bit more breeze. So I mean, I'm excited for the next event and hopefully we get a little bit more breeze and a few more of those really tight battles and tight races between all 6 competitors.
As soon as you get 8-9 knots of wind, the boats become alive. We're racing super tight, super close, and 2 of the races today, or even all 3 races today, were really good races that we had for the fleet racing. There's a big future for this class, and I think as people get to spend more time in the boats and the racing will get even closer, and hopefully at the next event in Jeddah we get a bit more breeze and can really see what these boats can do over a 3-day period.
Yeah, it was a tricky weekend. Conditions really didn't play ball on the Friday, Saturday. Today we had some reasonable conditions, certainly for the first 2 races. We came into this knowing that we were slightly on the back foot, some of the other teams in terms of time in the boat. But that said, we still performed really below where we aspire to be. We're not going to take that lightly. Certainly going to go away and have a very good hard look at ultimately where we were getting it wrong in terms of the performance of the boat, the handling of the boat. The positives are that we've come a long way through the last four days of sailing with the training days and then the racing days. Certainly a lot closer than where we started off, and like I say, learned a lot that we'll take through into the AC75. So yeah, we'll go away, have a good hard look at what we're doing wrong and get things back on track for Jeddah and look for a much more positive performance out there.
Five of the scheduled 10 races were on the books at the J24 World Championship, hosted by the Nautical Club of Thessaloniki in Greece. 35 boats revelled in another gorgeous day of bright skies, warm temperatures, and breeze of 8 to 12 knots. 2 races were completed Wednesday, and now taking into account the discard. American Keith Whitmore's Furio kept hold of the top position with 9 net points.
We love the J24 class. It is incredibly competitive. They all go pretty much the same speed. They are reasonable to handle. It might be the best sailboat racing in the world. The Yacht Club is doing a fantastic job. They're putting on a really good event. They're very well organized. They're incredibly friendly and helpful. And it's a marvelous sailing event.
Βρισκόμαστε εδώ στο ναυτικό με Θεσσαλονίκη για το Παγκόσμιο Πρωτάθλημα. Είναι δύσκολη κλάση, είναι σκληρή κλάση γιατί ο κάθε πόντος κερδίζεται με υδρότα πολύ. Παρ' όλα αυτά, οι καλοί συνεχίζουν να είναι πάντα μπροστά και ευελπιστούμε να είμαστε κι εμείς κάποια στιγμή μια ομάδα από αυτές.
Hosted by the Club Maritimo de Mahon, at a brand new venue for Club Swan racing on the east coast of the island of Menorca, provided a typically competitive series that saw 6 different winners from the 7 races held. With varied wind conditions, including a day with a sea breeze of 18 knots, Stella Maris was able to hold onto their overnight lead heading into the final day. However, it was whittled away by the hard-charging German duo of Marcus Brennex Hattari, who finished second in part thanks to 2 race wins, and Hendrik Brandis Early Bird, who took the final place on the podium.
This is not an easy win in this event. We have to fight and we have to work hard. And we also closely observed what especially Early Bird was doing, because they were actually our close competition. It's a super feeling. I'm incredibly proud of my crew. These are guys who mostly have never seen a big boat before they stepped on this. We decided not to pick the best people we can find, but to build our own crew. From young people, mostly from Austria. Took us several years actually to develop this, and now it's really paying. For us, just being sort of close to all these sailing heroes of my youth. Marcus Wieser, I know the name since I was like a 5-year-old kid in sailing in Optimist. Then Robert Scheid coming into the class, actually with us on the boat last year on the Swan Cup in Sardinia. And suddenly sailing with such a guy and then competing against him, this is a beautiful experience. I think a big part of our enjoyment was here. The organization, the venue, the club, very comfortable, very friendly, welcoming. The island being beautiful and the whole surrounding made this a beautiful experience. Next for us will be the Worlds, of course, in October in Scalino. The goal is to get a medal and see what is possible now.
Race 1 of the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race has finished with Perseverance taking the win of the first race of the circumnavigation. After the epic race start from Portsmouth on the 3rd of September, and with the fleet bound for Puerto Sherry, the conditions were made for an interesting competition with plenty of tactical racing required from the 11 teams during this race to Spain.
Yeah, you're making an approach to the end now.
We definitely had some tough times. We had some much stronger weather than we expected. I think it was very much the settling in period for everybody.
So we just got in Porto Sherry with a fantastic welcome with local sherry and some flowers. It's beautiful weather. We came in first. We just feel just a little shell-shocked and super happy at the same time. When you're in first place, obviously it creates a bond and creates motivation as well. Creates a bit of pressure on me and Joss in the beginning to keep the lead up. So when the lead was still quite small, we were quite pressured. But then our lead consolidated and increased a bit, and so we realized we were in slightly different weather than the others. We'd kind of calmed down a little bit. But for the crew, it's been just that's amazing, because their whole dreams of doing this and racing this is paying off, and that's just so cool to see.
Really good. We've just come in from Portsmouth, arrived into Porto Sherry after about 6-7 days at port at sea. So it's been really exciting. We're first in, so that's really cool. First race, first. It's been really good.
It's an amazing feeling. It's adrenaline. And yes, you did it, because you never know. You are still fighting. Race is ending only at the finish line. And then, yes, it comes relief. Yes, here we are winners. But these are only first 1,000 miles of 40,000 miles. Cheers!
For the final day of racing at the TF35 Malsacene Cup 2, an ominous cloud cover and a heavy haze covered the lake. However, after a 45-minute delay, the race committee took their chance and started the first race of the day in a patchy 8-knot breeze in the hope that it would fill in. In an impressive show of skill, skipper Jerome Clerc, tactician Sebastian Cole, and the crew of Real Team Sailing clinched the 6th and final event victory of the 2023 TF35 season and the overall season title.
What a fantastic year for Real Team. We won all the events of the year. It was really tough on the water. We have a great fight with Spindrift and Iliam all the year, and we wanted to finish on a high to win the last event, and we did it just in the last races.
So yes, on overall of this year's sailing, we did finish overall second, and we did finish here in Malsacene second. We know there's a lot of potential behind us, especially in that second half of the season where we proved ourselves that we can compete with Real Team in very tight conditions. And now we're looking forward to next year's season, especially that everybody on the course is getting good. The sailing is getting tight, and we like that.
patience paid off for both the race committee and competitors on day 3 of the J24 World Championship hosted by the Nautical Club of Thessaloniki in Greece. Scheduled for a 1500 start, and then postponed ashore, the 35 teams may have started making their evening plans. But the breeze picked up, and the boats headed out for 2 more races, bringing the total to 7, in winds of 6 to 10 knots.
Competition here is second to none as far as world championships we've had in recent years. My name is Christopher Howell. I'm the Executive Director of the International J24 Class Association. Thessaloniki hasn't been on the map for me, so to speak, as a place that would be a venue for a major championship. But we have been so surprised and so happy that this venue can provide such incredible sailing. The organizing authority has done a great job here. I'm hoping that people will see this and realize what a great spot this is to hold a major championship. I really hope other classes will consider coming here. There are so many really good teams. There's 10 teams easily that could win this event. It's really interesting how there's still many teams who could win this event. It's starting to unfold a little bit, but if we have a change in conditions, and so other teams will kind of move up.